Delishees, grab a plate and taste the delicious culture. I am Jon Francois.
Today, I am an annoyed person who used to be a Democrat.
Wait, I didn't even know. Were you always registered as a Democrat? I thought you were
I
like
was
an
never
independent.
registered as a Democrat. I have always been registered as an independent.
Well, yeah, same here. Ever since 2016, and based on the decision that has come down in the last day or so, I think it'll stay that way because, yeah, we and by we I mean those who believe in democratic values. It's really, 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 really tough right now. I think I've lost hope in that party.
They're fools.
They
Fools.
absolutely are.
And it's not even all of them. It's eight stupid.
Yeah, yeah. So we have to get into it. So that's one of our meals that we have to dive into. I know that, past few weeks we've been diving into more fun stuff, the Project Runway, the K-pop, the Love is Blind of it all, and that's great. But this is one of those weeks where I was like, all right, America, let's put you on blast. Surprise winter weather. We'll talk about that to start off. And yes, of course, the government shutdown results, the Grand Egyptian Museum opening. That seems like a fun story to talk about. And yeah, we'll wrap up with some pop culture samplers that you and I would like to recommend for people to watch as they go into the weekend, next week, etc. But first, yeah, I did not look, November in Vermont, yes, snow, that's not abnormal, but based on the weather that we've gotten up to this point, I did not expect the amount of snow that we got here in Vermont. I hear in upstate New York, did you guys get up to what, 2 to 6 inches? Or what was it like there?
So I didn't experience the snowfall because I didn't leave my apartment.
Ah,
But I will tell you this, I was incredibly annoyed to go out to my car and see snow mixed with fallen leaves. This is the worst thing to try to clean up.
yeah, because like the snow, you already have that, and then the leaves become all sticky and wet. It's just impossible. Yeah, I know what you mean because our yard is still filled to the brim with leaves, and we really don't have anywhere to put it. And then you have the snow combined with it, and it's just gunky shit.
It's gross. There's a leaf on my floor in front of me right now. I've been cleaning them up all day long. And I'm like, I thought I got them all. And there was one right there and it's just annoying me.
Oh my god, how did it get to the floor of your apartment? Did it just like stick to your shoe and you?
And then the snow is like glue and it just, boom, they stick to everything. And I'm like, oh, I hate you, snow.
One of our dogs is a little Chinese crested dog named Edgar, and it is a habit when he comes in that stuck to his whiskers will be big leaves. So then you like just have him drinking out of his water and food bowl, and it's just like, wait, why are there like all these expired leaves where you consume your food and beverage, Edgar?
And he's like, you know what? I'm just bringing the leaf in. It'll fall off on its own.
Yeah, because dogs obviously they're not aware, they don't give a shit. But yeah, no, in Vermont we got up to 9 inches depending on where you are. I mean, it's like parts of Vermont, some got more than others. I know that where I work in Burlington, our most populous area of the state, it went from just what seemed like mild rain and hail to just, oh, heavy snow. It is undrivable if you have all season tires like I do. And I just want to put on blast like all these rude Vermonters on social media who are just like, oh, it's November in Vermont, dumbasses. What did you expect? And to be clear, November in Vermont, yes, snow, not abnormal. It is totally fine to have that. I know it from living here for 7 years. That's not the problem. The problem was that we've had like so much mild weather, like literally the other day, sunny, high of 48. It was getting too hot in my house from the heat being on. Like we've had that kind of weather for the most part. And then boom, snow. That's the problem. And when it's like that, that's when my bad procrastination habit kicks in. And I think, all right, we got so much mild weather and we're halfway into fall. Let me not worry about snow tires, because snow tires are a must if you live here from roughly like late October through early May, because the roads and all the snow and salt that they handle, it's just, if you don't have snow tires, then it's pretty much a death wish if you are driving as often as I am. So yeah, I just want people who live here on social media to calm the fuck down because some of us live here and know that snow can happen in November. We just didn't expect it to happen when we literally had like a sunny and 48-degree day the other day.
People, calm it down. They just found mosquitoes in, I think, Sweden or the Alps, a place where mosquitoes have never existed in human history. The world is dying. This is global warming in full effect in our face right now.
Yeah, be patient. Be patient. That is so mosquitoes in Sweden. That's not a thing. That they that's abnormal.
Well, look it up yourself. Just there's some country, and I know it's up north, and I think Sweden is up north.
Right.
Wherever it is up north, the closer you get to the Arctic Circle, there were never mosquitoes there before, and now there are mosquitoes, and that's due to the rising climate of this planet.
Climate change, global warming. That could be another episode. I am worried, as are you. Yeah, back to the winter weather of it all. Look, someone had the audacity to be like, "All right, we've known about this forecast for 2 weeks." And if you live here in Vermont, you know that the weather changes every damn hour. You don't really go by the weather app anymore because, like, it'll say cloudy, maybe a 20% chance of rain, and then all of a sudden it's fucking 6 inches of snow. So that's another point that I want to make about that. Look, the only thing I will take accountability for is the fact that I did not get my snow tires in late October. I know, because now I'm fucking calling every auto shop and they're like, "Oh, we can't take you until next week. We can't take you until Thanksgiving week. We can't take you in until December." Like, so my bad procrastination habit is settling in, and I'm getting the consequences of my actions. I get it, because again, I've lived here for 7 years, and I know that despite mild weather, whatever, still just in case have snow tires as early as late October. So that's where I'm at right now. I don't know, like, how often do you drive? I don't know if winter tires are really a thing in upstate New York. They're probably not, right? Because you guys have better roads than we do.
If they were, I still wouldn't get them. So,
It's a lot of money.
yeah,
It's a
this
lot.
money I'm not gonna spend. Because I don't. Winter tires, I don't want to get them. I don't want to get them. I don't have the energy for it. Getting your tires changed was, which I don't understand, is one of the longest but most simple maintenance for your car. And I just don't have the patience for it.
That's okay. That's understandable. I would say even for anybody living here in Vermont, if you have, like, say, a 5-10 minute commute, if you're barely in your car, especially if you work from home, don't even bother. Cause my first couple years living here, that was my situation. I used to work like 2 seconds away from where I lived. So I was like, fuck it. I'm going to coast on all seasons. It'll be fine. But now, Ubering and lifting for a living, being out on the road for more than 12 hours a day, it's kind of like, yeah, I probably should, because we have construction going on forever. For
Mhm.
throughout the year, because of all the holes in the grounds from all the snow and salt that, like, just goes through it. So if you don't have tires that will adjust to that crappiness from October through May, then you're kind of in trouble. So my advice is only get snow tires if you need it. So you are on the right track there. And I want to give a shout out to this guy that got his chain and pulled me up a hill.
Oh,
Yeah. Because on my way home that Monday night when the snow was just coming in furiously, I thought I was a smartass. I was like, you know what? That hill up Church Street, fuck that. Not taking that because I know I'm going to get stuck. Let me take this alternate route. What happened? The alternate route also had a hill going up. And thankfully, thankfully, this guy who lived on the street, kind man, had a Tacoma with enough horsepower, had a chain, hooked that chain up to my Corolla, pulled me up the hill. Even though I was up the hill, I still needed some push. So this guy physically pushed his car, just physically pushed my car just a little bit forward more so that I could make the round the corner drive back to my house. So it was like night and day. Like, once I was able to drive back to my house, it was like, oh my God, I can drive again. I literally thought this guy was Superman. I thought he was driving me like all the way back home. I thought he physically pushed me all the way back home.
uh-huh.
But no, it just turned out that, you just need a little push, and there you go. But yeah, no, so I don't know what this mess. I think the message is here: fuck winter not giving us a heads up, and also community, people helping each other matters when it's situations like I can't move my car.
Yes. That guy is a lifesaver. And anybody who's got the winter blues, we only are going to have winter for probably another 5 to 10 years.
No,
So it's almost done.
oh God, that's such a positive note to end on. Yeah, no, no, yeah, 5 to 10 years, but also, like, pointing to now, like, it is. how could I say it? It's probably and I told this to maybe the passenger that I was stuck in the car for a while with because of the snowy ride. It is probably the best time of year for therapists right now because the government shutdown and the results that happened from it, the winter weather, the days ending earlier, like there are so many things where the world seems to tell you, haha, let's see how depressed you can get.
Daylight savings time throws me for a loop every year. This year, it was the hardest transition, and it was because I had to be up to take the kids to school. It's torture. I don't
Yeah.
like it.
It's awful. So daylight saving time, that concept should end. I know we've been trying to get that to end, and it just never seems to happen. These are your, I think I forget. These are your relatives' kids.
These are my nephews and niece.
Nice, very cool, very cool. Yeah, and yeah, when you have to take kids to school, you have to, you know, make sure they're there safely, and you also would love some semblance of positivity when you look at the sky outside. So
I'm pretty sure they're like, Uncle Andrew, you are not making it easy for us to go to school because I would, when the clocks changed over, I was like, you guys concentrate this early in the morning. You
yeah,
do stuff at this hour. And then
it's awful. It's awful. But anyway, so winter weather. No, thank you for just surprising us this early. It's awful. I'm still trying to get out my driveway as we speak. I have the plower coming in tomorrow.
good.
Yeah, yeah. Because again, I don't have the right tires for this kind of weather, so I'm pretty much stuck in the house until the plower comes by, I believe. And yeah, I mean, I got to get my license renewed, and there's this DMV that I want to go to, but you have to go through this mountain, which the roads are also crappy on that. So it's like one thing after another.
Wow.
I know.
Please.
Work
Is
in
it
progress.
is it
Go ahead.
past your time to renew your license online, or can you not do that in Vermont?
Oh, no. If you work for Lyft, they remind you every time before you accept a ride that your license is about to expire soon. So I am trying to get that done because with Uber and Lyft, as with DoorDash, like you could be deactivated if you don't have a valid license. So my license expires on my birthday, which is the 27th of this month. So I've just been trying to like schedule an appointment at an appropriate DMV to get that done. Online, you could usually do that, but the DMV services, possibly related to government shutdown shit, like they haven't been available, and there are DMV places that have been closed that are more conveniently closer to me. So it's just a wonderful game of trying to renew my damn license.
Oh, geez, they are putting you through it.
America, I love you so much. The greatest country in the land, Star Spangled Banner, my country 'tis of thee. Nothing wrong with you right now.
Nothing is wrong except believing it's the greatest country in the land. Ah,
And on that note, I guess we should get into our next meal. This meal that might be hard to digest. The government shutdown. It appears as if it's coming to a close after 43 days. Where are we at? Because I think it passed the Senate, and now it's coming up for a final vote on the House. This bill,
it is. It is 43 days and
nothing from it. Nothing from it. Do we confirm it?
nothing from it. Nothing. Okay. The 8 Senate Democrats who decided to vote yes with Republicans, they all need to be voted out of office. They're terrible people. They did not consult with the entire Democratic Party, and they are the bad ones.
But did you know that they're not up for reelection or are retiring? So it's kind of convenient. Like
Yes, they don't care.
yep, they're
They
on the
they
way out.
they're on their way out. They do not care. They are going to be set for life. Each one of them has had multiple donors give over hundreds of thousands of dollars to them. They will be fine. So they have nothing to worry about. They literally left the American people out to dry.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and I assume part of it was they just had constituents calling them from their
No,
respective. No, okay, what is
no.
it?
We're not going to say, well, I'm not going to say it's the constituents because none of them mentioned it was their constituents that called them.
Mm.
And that's another huge problem. But even if your constituents were calling you in this scenario, there's 242 other people who are saying no, hold the line. And 8 of you decide to just say, okay, we're done. And they said we're done because Secretary Thune said, oh, we're going to have a vote on the Affordable Care Act. We will talk about it. And then Mike Johnson, 2 hours later, said, nope, that's not happening. And then
Yeah.
yesterday ran from cameras and said, nope, that's not happening. So it's like, really? Yeah, they lied to our face because they believed the lies.
Yeah. Those so I believe it's 7 Senate Democrats and 1 independent, but we'll just lump you in. You're not an independent. I think if you were a true independent, you would have not done this, but so we'll lump you in as part of the 8 Senate Democrats. I think that they somehow thought that the Republican Party was the party of the successful pinky promise, because that's essentially what they were given, was that, well, oh, pinky promise, we could schedule a vote for the ACA tax credit in December in time for the deadline, and then as you mentioned, pretty quickly Republicans showed who they really are. Yeah, so I don't know. Let's just kind of like break it down. You probably know about more about this than I do. So the bipartisan bill that was agreed on, we're funding parts of the government. We're getting food aid, veterans programs, legislative branch. We're getting parts of the government funded, and this is all going to be extended until end of January.
Yes. And none of this is anything that any Republican created. This is the continuing resolution that has been signed 19 times that started with Joe Biden.
Yeah. And Democrats, since October 1st, were saying there's this tax credit on the Affordable Care Act that allows people to afford their health care coverage. We will not bend down until that tax credit is extended. Millions of Americans could be affected if that tax credit isn't extended. And all but those 8 Senate Democrats that we mentioned seemed to hold firm and wanted to continue the fight, but it took that minimum 8 to say, no, we're done fighting. It's uncomfortable having the government being closed this long. And now here we are. They handed the Republicans a 60-40 vote to advance the deal to end this 40-plus day shutdown. So, yep. Do we want to put them on blast?
So the thing I can say, because it's been very confusing for some people to understand what has happened. The Affordable Care Act subsidies, do not believe the lie that it was the Democrats who created that. That's not what happened. This expiration date that was put in place was done by both parties, the Republicans and Democrats, in order to get the ACA passed. And they did this because they said, hey, by the time the subsidies expire, we should have another health care plan in place to replace this so the government doesn't have to pay all that money anymore. That has never happened because for the last 4 years with Trump, he didn't have a plan.
Right.
Biden strengthened the ACA, but then was, of course, blocked in Senate and House by some Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we're here at this expiration date, the expiration date is still in place because the hope and goal was to have something else to fund the subsidies. And now they're going away. The subsidies will not be coming back. There's about a 2% chance. And the reason being is Republicans have said, if you want the subsidies, then we need to be harsher on abortion laws. So that's a non-starter for Democrats. So we're kind of just at a standstill right now. It's just
your Obamacare or women's reproductive rights. You choose. I mean, how fucked up is that?
And we had the crazy eights out here just doing whatever.
Yeah, let's name them. Senator Angus King from Maine. Oh, by the way, a number of these are from northern New England, where I am. Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine make up northern New England. So I'm ashamed as a northern New Englander to be naming these peoples. Yeah, we have Senator Angus King from Maine, who I believe is the one independent. Senator Dick Durbin from Illinois. Senator Catherine Cortez Masto from Nevada. Senator Jackie Rosen from Nevada. Senator John Fetterman from Pennsylvania. That's the guy who dresses very casually, right?
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, and he's like 7 feet tall. Senator Maggie Hassan from New Hampshire, Senator Jean Shaheen from New Hampshire, and Senator Tim Kaine from Virginia, who, if you don't remember, was Hillary's 2016 vice presidential running mate. And I guess that just got me randomly thinking, I hope this is not too off topic, because I do know that Hillary has had this like 30-year history of trying to pass some sort of effective healthcare bill. I just wonder, like, if she were president or just somehow actively involved in Congress, what would she be telling Tim Kaine? Would she have stood firm? Would she have voted along with those 8 Democrats? That was just a random thought that I had in my head when I saw Tim Kaine pop up.
I don't think she would have broke Hillary Clinton in this case, because she was destroyed in her first attempt at universal health care. Yeah. I think she would have kept fighting this fight and said, no, we are not giving up.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, we have read that the Senate Majority Leader Jon Thune was promising a December vote on extending the ACA tax credits. Not guaranteed, just a promise. But you had mentioned that that was quickly thrown away.
Mike Johnson clearly said it on different interviews and running away from reporters. I do not commit or guarantee this. Those were his words. So I doubt we're going to see it. I mean, I was what is his name? Trump. I don't like that man so much. He said it himself that he wants to change this to where the money goes to the American citizens as opposed to going to the insurance companies, which is a terrible idea because imagine you get $2,000 stimulus check for your health care each month, but then you have to have a surgery that's $100,000. You're never going to live a healthy life as a human if they go to what he has proposed on television.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I did read the headline about this $2,000 tariff dividend that he was mentioning. And I was wondering, like, oh, is Trump's plan to use that $2,000 from what we could have gotten from the healthcare subsidies?
Possibly, but even this tariff income that has put us at $18 trillion, which nobody in the history of humanity has ever done within a year, that money doesn't exist. The same thing with the SNAP benefits and how they weren't paying out the SNAP benefits from that emergency fund. I get the feeling that emergency fund was spent on something else and they're just not telling people that that money is gone.
I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was. So, what did we get out of this? Because if this was going to be the end, then we could have ended the shutdown. I don't know, after like fucking 5 or 10 days and not have had this unnecessary prolonged thing where you have federal workers like air traffic controllers. A friend of mine works on Border Patrol. They're going without pay. You have many flights delayed or canceled. All these lines at food banks from the SNAP nutrition assistance fall out, even though again, I mean, I didn't really touch on that too much because of the fact that you had mentioned the fact that they have the emergency fund for situations like this. So SNAP didn't really need to be affected by the government shutdown at all. It's just Trump being an evil fucking human being. I don't know. I mean, I guess my thoughts permeating throughout this is like for the Democrats and for anyone listening and viewing who may say, all right, like the government couldn't be shut down any longer. It had to be open at some point. Like, yeah, government shutdown is awful, especially for this long. I mean, especially on the airport end. I had told you, AJ, via text that I had this old couple that had to drive back from Vermont to Detroit 11 hours because their flight got canceled. They had no choice but to rent a car and drive 11 hours back. I had this other couple who were given an hour's notice that their flight had been bumped up to 9:35. It was like 8:30 when they were told. And obviously when you factor in like waiting in line at the TSA, checking in, blah blah blah, like that's not much time. So it's been absolute chaos and I get that. At the same time, healthcare is pretty important. You have millions of Americans whose lives literally depend on the Affordable Care Act. People like my wife and myself who have avoided a big financial burden with these healthcare subsidies because I believe thanks to these healthcare subsidies, that's what allows us to only pay 16 cents a month for our healthcare, and without them, having our payment jump up to $1,890 a month, my wife and I had to have that difficult emotional conversation of like, okay, I guess we're not having healthcare anymore because we literally cannot afford that if that's the cheapest option. So to be told by the entire Democratic Party that we are going to fight for you, we are not going to stand down, we're not going to cave, and then you had the minimum amount of 8 senators needed that were just like, no, we're going to cave. And then that just fucks up everything. Despite the fact that we had Tuesday's elections, that recent election day on Tuesday, with Zoran Mondani winning in New York City, with those governors to be in Virginia and New Jersey. If am I wrong? I mean, that was pretty perfect leverage to show that, hey, Trump, hey, Republican Party, the American people are fucking unhappy. So you might want to work with Democrats on healthcare.
Yeah, we're going off of a cliff anyways. I don't understand what they should. I can't even say the Democrats are the full responsibility of the shutdown, but if you were going to give up, you should have never started the fight.
Yeah,
There was no reason to. You might as well have just said, "Get used to it. Your health insurance is about to be 10 times more expensive. Like, what was the point? We wasted all this time. I couldn't get my shower fixed in my apartment because of this shit. What is wrong with you people? And it's because of the tariffs, just to like clarify. But the tariffs fucked with my shower because a part was messed up and my apartment refused to order it because it was too expensive because it had to come from China. But now it's
Mhm.
back working. But there's just so many things where it's like, we could have done so much more. And then when I heard Dick Durbin at his press conference say, we got a commitment to a vote, the only thing that came good from this shutdown was this. George Bush's statement on Fool Me Once made sense to me. I was like, oh, it makes sense now. I see it.
Yeah. God, this whole bullshit of like, oh, government can't be shut down for much longer. We have to work together with our fellow Republicans. It's code for uh I'm leaving and I'm not getting reelected. I'm retiring. So yeah, and also, I think there was also this theory going around that like once the airport started losing significant amounts of money, that was that a big factor into these Democrats deciding to make that decision?
I mean, in their press conference, they said that was one of the things, but I don't believe it.
Mm.
To be honest, I really think it was either they were threatened with something or they just decided to take whatever payout or kickback they're going to get from this. They're going to get something, or at least stand in the good graces of Trump. Something is going to happen good for them. I don't know what, and I don't know how, but to just be in to see everybody else like Hakeem Jeffries and other people in the Democratic Party, unless they're seriously good actors, which I doubt they are, the look of disappointment on their faces where they were just like, you screwed us. And for anybody who's like, well, the government couldn't be shut down. Yes, the fuck it could. It's not working now that it's open. When it was open before the shutdown, we were being lied to about numbers. People were being fired from jobs left and right. We weren't getting the benefits that people were supposed to get. Tons of beneficial programs were being cut anyways. So the one time you have leverage, you didn't learn from January, and now we do it all over again. I am more than disappointed with these people and just really hope all of you step on Legos for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I agree. And it's one thing if it's like, oh, we're going to agree to keep the government reopened for like another year or so, but we're only guaranteed that the government will stay open until end of January. So if they all don't agree on something by end of January, the government could still be shut down again, right?
It could. It could be shut down again. And the reason why I don't have faith that something is going to happen, it out of the last 100 days of sessions of Congress, Republicans were only present for 13 of those days. So you mean to tell me that in 60 days, well, not even 60 days, what now it's like, I think like 40 something days before the beginning of the next year, we're going to have a plan in place that's going to fix everything for people? I don't believe it.
Yeah.
They couldn't agree about anything. And now we're supposed to believe that in about 40 something days, they're going to have the golden plan for all of us.
Yeah. To borrow from the Quentin Tarantino movie, can we just call them the Hateful Eight?
Yes, I like it. The Hateful Eight.
The Hateful Eight, I don't know. I don't believe that they believe that this promise was actually gonna be a thing, because let's look at the 15-year history of the Republicans' relationship with the Affordable Care Act. I mean, pretty much ever since Barack Obama signed it into law, there's been a mission, because Obama is associated with it, that repeal. Obamacare is the sin of the nation, yada, yada, yada. And obviously, when Obama was in office, like these Republicans would fight like cats about it. And then once it got to Obama's desk, he'd be like, oh, okay, sorry, fuck you, veto. So that's what got us through the first 7 years of it. And then I remember Trump's first term, he was trying to repeal it. It looked like we were getting close to not having Obamacare. And was it John McCain that provided the crucial thumbs down?
That was John McCain.
Yeah, yeah. And look, say what you will about John McCain. I mean, obviously, if he ended up being president, I'm sure there's a lot I would have disagreed with him on, but he knows basic American values and morals like most of these other Republicans don't. So the fact that he did that shortly before he died, it's like, oh, that's probably a testament to his legacy right there. So Obamacare kept going because of that vote. And then, of course, Joe Biden got in office and he kept it going however he did. And then now here we are, where Trump is very much still with his Republican Party trying to dismantle it any way they can. And the fact that these hateful eight thought, like, oh, promise, promise, they might come around. It's like, no, no. I mean, you look at Trump's social media about anything related to Obama, look at all the Republican dialogue and rhetoric about what they think is the cons of Obamacare. Like, this has been their mission all along. So get ready to not have health care going into the new year. That's
Yeah.
that's morbid, but it's pretty much true based on what the hateful eight decided.
Yeah. People are going to be affected. People are going to die. People are going to go medically bankrupt. And if anybody isn't sure about the CR itself, the continuing resolution, the example I'll give you is, imagine the continuing resolution is you paying your phone bill for a month. That continuing resolution is your actual phone bill. So if you pay your phone bill, you can't then go to your phone company and say, hey, that $100 I paid on my bill, can we take $50 of that and put it towards some groceries? The phone company is going to look at you and say, no, that's our money for the bill. And that's what you agreed to pay. That's what a CR is. It's essentially you agreeing to how the fund should be spent. So if the funds are not allocated to the Affordable Care Act subsidies, going after the fact is a non-starter, because the Republicans, I guarantee it, if we ever get to a point where they're like, oh, okay, we're ready to vote on the Affordable Care Act subsidies, someone is going to stand up and say, we already agreed to what this money's supposed to be spent in on the CR. That's going to be their fight. And they have the standing for it, because that's what it is.
So, somewhat related, because literally just before we recorded, I got an update from the Associated Press about these Epstein emails that the Democrats released. Uh, I think every now and then we're still, seeing, whether it be on social media or Democrats, like, hey, Trump, stop distracting us, release the Epstein files. I wonder if that still holds up. Is that going to be any effective leverage for Democrats at this point, now that they've fucked up on healthcare?
When people can't afford their insulin, I don't give a fuck about Epstein Island. That man's dead. That's
Right.
what people are probably going to say. And now the Epstein files, they're gonna make a comeback probably in this next week, because I think now that Grijalda is getting sweared in today, I think at 4 p.m., she is the 218th signature on the disposition, I'm sorry, to release the Epstein files. So the fact that she gets to vote now, and I think they're holding the vote sometime this week or next week, the Epstein files are going to become big again. But if people are looking at paying 16 cents for health insurance to almost $2,000, would you really care?
Yeah. Good point. Good point. And I believe those emails, they just basically say that Trump knew about the sex trafficking and the victims. That's what it basically says, right?
Yeah, that's what it says, that he knew. And of course, he's already saying, no, that's not real. It's AI and all this other stuff. And his followers are going to believe it. It's
Yeah.
the same lie over and over. And for the Democrats who are out there, you got to work on your messaging. Your
Yeah.
messaging is always terrible. You always come up with terrible names for things. Let's just start calling them what they are. Pedophiles are pedophiles. We just got to go ahead and just get it out there, because nobody's going to listen if you're putting all this stuff to bog it down.
What do you think? Because with the Democrats and Republicans, it's always this party infighting of like the moderates versus the hard right for the Republicans, the moderates versus the hard left / progressives for the Democrats. And I believe all these eight, they're moderates, correct?
They're all moderates, but I always hated the left and right and radical and all that stuff. I'm like, you all are actually the same thing. You just don't want to be related to each other.
Or so tell me how a progressive Democrat could be the same as a moderate Democrat.
The fact that you're a Democrat.
Okay. um, okay. Yeah. Democrat by name. Yeah. Yep. I can see what you're saying. I just, for me, I see this as an argument of like, let's lean more into the progressive voices, your AOCs, your Bernies, your Zoran Mondanis, because I could be wrong on this, but from like what I read, what I see, it seems like those voices are fighting for us more so than the moderates. It seems like the moderates are at this seesaw of like, all right, we're going to fight for you, but also we got Republicans constituents we got to think about, and we believe in bipartisanship, even though this Republican Party is not the same Republican Party of George W. Bush or Ronald Reagan, et cetera. Like, I just think that the moderate Democrats at this point are doing no good and are adhering to this idea of America that doesn't exist anymore. And the progressives seem to just be more so tuned into reality. Like, the Republican Party is not the party that cares about you anymore. We're going to fight like hell for issues that matter: healthcare, the economy, an economy that works for all. That's just my opinion. So I feel like the more the Democratic Party leans into the progressive left-leaning side, the better it can be. But that's just a guess. Well, not a guess. That is a projection that I'm putting out there. I could be wrong. Maybe moderation ends up being the thing that saves us. But I just I don't know. What are your thoughts? Because that's I look, hard right conservatism seems to be working for the Republican Party in a lot of sense. So I just feel like on the Democratic end, having this thing of, okay, let's try to be middle establishment. We've seen it in some sense with Kamala. We've seen it with Hillary. I mean, and look how that turned out. So I don't know. Your thoughts?
Moderates, you are the same as the people who try to sane wash Trump.
Mm,
And sane washing is when they try to say, well, this is what he means by what he said. No, stop trying to normalize this man's dementia the same way you're trying to normalize that we live in the same republic that we used to before. It
yeah.
is different now. And I feel like I want to believe, and I'm saying this first, I want to believe that moderates believe that there's this union in government and we can all find common ground and work together.
Right.
The real side of me does not believe that that is what they want at all. All of these moderate Democrats are people who have made hundreds of thousands of dollars being in their position, and they're afraid to lose that job. That's it. I don't feel like they're actually fighting for us. I feel that they are afraid of losing their job and losing the income that they've amassed from that job. They're not there for us. They're there to keep their job.
Sometimes when I think of moderates, I think, oh, like Hillary Clinton going on Wall Street and getting this like $500,000 speaking fee, and while also saying fuck Wall Street. Like, it's the moderates have this very conflicting relationship with democratic values and where they're getting their money from, how they're keeping their lifestyle afloat. So here's where we are. I am open-minded to moderation in the Democratic Party as long as Trump is not the head of the Republican Party. I think as long as Trump has his influence on the Republican Party as he does, I feel like moderation is not going to work. They're fighting like hell. We should fight like hell.
He called his sugar daddy for $130 million to pay the military. That was not enough money to even pay partial of the military. But the fact that he can call his sugar daddy and nobody is calling theirs, I hate you guys so much. Just so much.
Seriously. Wait, who's his sugar daddy? I got to know.
We don't know his name.
Oh.
We don't know his name. But he
Yeah.
literally said it in a conference and then got the money. So a private citizen was going to pay for our military services. If that does not scream illegal, I don't know what else does. But the fact that you're going against people who don't care about the rules. They're
Yeah.
changing the rules so you don't have a chance. And you want to say, no, we're going to do the moderate thing and we're going to say everything is good. They're literally telling you we're going to burn down everything. And you're like, we can hold to these values. This country is going to look like the East Wing.
Yes, we're going to hold values and try to work with the other party, the party headed by a man who, I guess, instead of giving food to hungry Americans and looking out for healthcare, decides to hold a great Gatsby party, not knowing how that book ended. What else? He decides to go to an NFL game where he was rightfully booed. That was great. Love that. What else did he do? Oh yeah, post an AI video of just taking a dookie on the entire America. I don't know. I mean, just laundry list. It's just the fact that the Democrats, the moderates at least, the hateful eights are beholden to this idea of like, nope, we can work with Republicans, we can figure this out as long as the Republicans are headed by a guy like that. It's just it's frustrating, it's laughable, it's all the extreme emotions right now.
It really is. If anybody had a question, does this man care about the American people? When the East Wing was being torn down, and there's video of it on every news outlet and every channel you can find online, including YouTube, there are clouds of asbestos in the air because we know for a fact there was asbestos in the East Wing, and he specifically hired non union workers to do the teardown so that way he does not have to pay for asbestos abatement. In 10 years, if we see a bunch of mesothelioma cases coming out from these workers, I mean, he's probably not going to be around at that point. But this is just another thing where it's like he literally hired people to work around deadly chemicals and exposures with not a care in the world.
Yep. Yep. Jon Stewart from The Daily Show said it best. Trump no longer gives a fuck about appearing to give a fuck.
Mhm. He doesn't care. He doesn't care.
So it's up to us about how we respond to that. Okay, well, that was quite a meal to digest. And I hope we can bring the mood up with our next meal, which is coming from you.
The Grand Egyptian Museum. Because I'm only saying that because it can be very confusing if you're looking online, because all the videos call it the gym. And they'll be like, well, I want to see the museum, not just the gym that's in the museum. But it is the largest and most culturally significant museum in Egypt and possibly the entire world. It cost $1 billion to open. It was delayed, I think, almost a decade from being completed because of COVID and civil insurrections and everything that was happening in Egypt at the time. It's finally been finished and it opened at the beginning of the month. And it has the most extensive collection of Egyptian artifacts in the world.
Now, were you able to see pictures of like what specific artifacts are there? Can you tell us more about that?
You can go right on YouTube and there's an hour-long video. It's called My Tour of the Gym. It's one of I forgot of the group of influencers the man is with, but they're from Egypt. This is the Egyptian man, and he will take you to see every single artifact in the museum. Now, it's very fast, so you don't get to like linger with them, but it's good. But there are over 1,000 artifacts that are in the museum. Some of them have never been seen before. All of the artifacts from King Tut's tomb are on display for the first time in history ever. So every single thing that was in his tomb was emptied out. Also, his tomb is actually collapsing, and they're concerned that they may release some kind of pathogens into the world. So just so you guys know, but it's amazing.
So if I wanted to just get like a nice visual overview of Egypt's history, that would be the place to go.
That would be the place to go. That's the point of it. So the point of the museum, and I can never remember the man's name, but there's an Egyptologist. He's considered the most knowledgeable and best Egyptologist for Egypt's history, and he's still living now. And I think his last name is Muhammad. But he worked tirelessly to find every single artifact that was sold off or stolen from the tombs of King Tut and I think Ramses the First. And that was one of the biggest feats of this museum, that he was able to get all of that stuff and finally have it returned to Egypt. The museum itself is in the foreground of the pyramids of Giza. So if you get to see the video, and it's going to look like it's AI because it's just so beautiful, the grand opening, they had all these dignitaries there. And then they did, I think it was like 1,000 lights of drones flying above the museum. And you see the pyramids of Giza in the background. And they actually made the drones take the shape of every single artifact in the museum.
Damn.
Like, it's when I say like the Olympic ceremony looks like a children's choir practice, like it's beautiful. You got to see it.
I'm hearing all this information and I'm just wondering, like, what does this say about Egypt's legacy / what's Egypt's legacy would be? Because literally all I know about Egypt is whatever I was told from the Bible growing up as a Christian, going to church, blah, blah, blah. And also, I know that civil rights wise, war wise, it hasn't been the most stable there. So I've always had this like contrasting picture of Egypt of like, oh, like this is a cool place where you get to see like you had mentioned, artifacts, just visually appealing things, but also to live there. I mean, if you're a certain identity, I know it could be a great risk. So what's the legacy of Egypt, you think?
I think the legacy of Egypt is going to be a very complicated one.
Yeah.
One of the things that they make very clear in the museum is that what a majority of the world believes Egypt looks like, it does not look like. And they made it very clear that there are not going to be any white Egyptians inside of this museum displayed as they're the native Egyptians,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
a lot of that's been whitewashed just from Hollywood, Bollywood, and other places. So they're like, we want this to reflect what we actually look like and what our culture is. But at the same time, and a lot of people who protested the museum, they're like, two, it was like, I think $2.1 billion, the total cost.
Mhm.
They're like, this money could have gone to the people as opposed to just bringing back stuff that's old. And at
Right.
the same time, the museum itself, it's now like a historical archive. So their actual legacy and past of what their past was won't be lost. So
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to be so complicated for people. And looking at it now, it's only been open for about a month. In 100 years, if it's still there, I think it might be a lot more powerful to have as opposed to nothing.
Yeah. I had an Uber or Lyft passenger come like immigrated from Egypt and had talked about moving to Vermont for her own safety. Yeah, that's what was kind of permeating through my mind is like we have this image of like Egypt as like this really visually appealing place with all these cool artifacts, but also it's like as a citizen, I guess it just depends on who you are, what you look like. Is it still illegal to be gay in Egypt?
It sure is. The last thing I remember when I heard about gay people in Egypt, there was like a river cruise, and it was for gay men, and special forces raided the boat and beat up every single man on that boat. Some of them had broken ribs, arms, legs, everything, just because they were gay. So as bad as I want to go to Egypt, I'm not stepping in there.
Yeah, understandably. Understandably. Oh, thank you for sharing that. So, how can we find more information on that? Is there a website?
So you can actually just go right to the website. It's thegym.com, or you can also in your browser, every browser it'll do it. If you just type in Grand Egypt Museum without any punctuation, it'll take you right to their website. They made it that way, so it's the only thing out there.
Shall we get to our pop culture samplers?
Let's do it.
Wonderful. All right. So I'm going to start with mine. It's Jimmy Kimmel's tribute to his band leader, Cleto Escobedo III. Um, Definitely watch it. It's about a 22-minute video on YouTube, and it's worth every second because this is not just a host who lost his late night band leader. Like they were literally childhood friends from the time they were 9, and they met in Vegas. I know Kimmel for a while lived in Las Vegas growing up, so that's where he met Cleto. They grew up across the street from each other. Cleto would go on to great success as a professional musician. He specialized in the saxophone. He played with Earth, Wind, and Fire's Philip Bailey. He played with Paula Abdul. You'll see a video that Jimmy showed in his monologue of Cleto with his long, curly, Kenny G-like hair, dancing and singing along with the saxophone with Paula Abdul, who was pretty hot at the time. That's a video that definitely you should see. It's so fun to watch. Cleto also has worked with Mark Anthony, Tom Scott, and Take Six. And then you cut to 2003 when Jimmy Kimmel gets offered his own late night show on ABC. And first thing he thought was, okay, for my band, I have a childhood friend, talented musician. I got to get him. Because what I admire about Jimmy is that he is very close with his family and friends and incorporates them into his show like nobody I've ever seen. So you have his childhood friend Cleto leading the band. I know his uncle Frank was a security guard that popped up as a character on the show before he passed away. I know he has like his Aunt Chippy. Jimmy is just very close with his family and friends. And I just think that is very nice to see in television form. And I know that this comes after the last Thursday. So last Thursday, Jimmy Kimmel Live just said abruptly that they have to cancel for personal reasons, and I assume it was because of this. We don't know how Cleto died, and that is okay. That's privacy respected to the family. But not only did Cleto lead the band, but his father was part of the band. And Jimmy tells a touching story in his monologue about how Cleto's father was a professional musician for quite some time. And then once he had Cleto, like once he had a family, he decided to put that aside because he wanted to be there for his son. And the gift that the father got was just watching his son become a very successful professional musician and then come full circle. The son and father performed together on this late night band for over 20 years. And family time, the priority of family that Cleto's father had, that rubbed off on son Cleto, who literally said the major benefit of the band leader job was that he could be with his family. Because if you can kind of suspect, being a touring musician, wonderful if you're single, that's fine. When you have a family that might want stability in one place, it can be a very, very challenging thing. So Cleto, when he saw this late night gig, it was like, oh, cool. Like it's a 9 to 5 job. I can always be home for dinner with my family. Like he took that, and him and Jimmy have been riding out this ride for almost 23 years up until Cleto's passing. Jimmy Kimmel, if you've seen a lot of his monologues, specifically the emotional ones, what I love about him is that lately he has been wearing his heart on his sleeve. I think ever since he did that monologue about like expressing the health issues that he was having with his baby boy, like ever since then you saw a shift in him being more vulnerable and more authentic as a person on the air. And I would argue, I mean, you know, the health issues with his baby boy, I mean, if you have seen his passionate monologues condemning Trump and the Republican Party, and especially their stance on healthcare, I think it all goes back to the issues that was happening with his baby boy. But yeah, no, he's great with these type of monologues. I mean, I've seen him deliver great emotional tearful monologues on the passing of his comedian friend Don Rickles, on his idol David Letterman retiring. He had a great monologue about Trump winning the 2024 election, where he said pointedly, like, those of you who think that he's for you, trust me, he is not. And of course, he is right. And as you remember, just this year, recently, in addition to his best friend of many years dying, he got suspended for a week or so by ABC and Disney over his Charlie Kirk / MAGA comments. And the moment he got tearful was when he was getting blowback on social media over people alleging that he was celebrating the death of a young man. Because, yeah, Charlie Kirk, fucked up person, didn't agree with him. You didn't agree with him as well. But Jimmy always got back to the idea of like, all right, yeah, he did some despicable things, but I would never celebrate the death of a human being. And that really hurt him as a parent of a child. That really, really hurt him. So all sorts of vulnerability that I love to see in Jimmy Kimmel nowadays, specifically this monologue here that he shared about his late band leader, Cleto. So watch it. You know, it's definitely worthy of a watch, and I think it is. I think it's a good lesson on keep your family and friends close. Don't take them for granted. Cherish the people you love in your life because life is short. So
Life is short. I am still a Kimmel fanatic, and honestly, I'm with you. When his shift in his monologues happened, I never watched them live, or at least when they came on television itself. I would wait till they were uploaded to YouTube because I'm like, oh, he's gonna make me cry, and I want to
yeah,
try to be crying and try to pay attention. I need to be able to pause it,
yeah,
but it's just it sucks. It sucks that the good people are leaving.
yeah.
Um, their music is great. I can't even lie. They're probably the only late night show band that I've ever downloaded songs from
Really?
because I like their music that much. So I'm sad to see and hear that he's gone, but I hope he's at peace. That is my one thing. I was like, maybe there's no more pain.
I hope
And
so.
that's all I can hope for.
Yeah, yeah. I hope so. You got a sampler, John Wayne Gacy.
Yes. So this is my sampler. And you guys need to go back and listen to our episode, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, where we talked about Monster on Netflix.
Yeah.
Um, so Devil in Disguise, John Wayne Gacy's story is what Monster should have done. It's
Okay.
very good. It's, I think, 6 or 7 episodes long. It's on Peacock,
Okay.
and it's free. It's free, so you don't have to pay for it. It's on Peacock. It's free. What they did, and To clarify now, you guys get your spoiler alert, but in Monster, which I was so disappointed when it came to the Ed Gein story, a lot of it is full with lies and things that were never proven, but they present as fact. Like Ed Gein never killed that babysitter. He never tortured anybody the way
Hmm.
that they displayed in the movie. He never killed anybody with a chainsaw. Texas Chainsaw Massacre wasn't even in existence when that happened. So those things that are displayed in Monster to make it more palatable, I guess, and more pop culture than it really should have been for Ed Gein. Devil in Disguise took it. They did it with Gacy's story, who was just as wild as Ed Gein, but presented it with real information and facts. In each episode, it is dramatically acted. The man who plays John Wayne Gacy is terrifying.
Hmm.
I don't know the actor's name. I've
Yeah.
never seen him in anything before. That man gave me chills. But what they did, even though some of it had to be dramatized for it actually being a show, at the end of every episode, they presented real information from the files of the case, parents of the victims testifying, information that should have been made very clear in Gein's story. They did in Gacy's story, where it's like, okay, yes, this is a drama, but this really happened. And you need to know the facts behind it, not a sensationalized version where everybody just looks like sexy Hollywood actors playing roles. This felt like real people.
I love it. So I still have to finish. I have this really fucked up, charming memory, by the way, of like watching some of the Confessions of a whatever Gacy docuseries that was
Oh,
on
yeah.
Netflix.
Confessions of a Serial Killer.
Yeah. The John Wayne Gacy tapes or whatever the fuck that was called.
Hmm.
I want to finish that because when I was watching it like a few years ago, I was like eating Dominoes. I was like looking forward to this show like it was like some kind of like comfort food scandal kind of show. When it's like, John, like you're eating pizza and you're happy and looking forward to this documentary about a fucked up serial killer. So I want to finish watching it because I know that was good. And it really like makes me feel great that you're saying that this is good because I think I might actually watch this as well. Because John Wayne Gacy, he killed young men, had sex with young men. Is that what his thing was? He dressed up as a clown?
So he dressed up as a clown. Oh, I forgot what the clown's name was, but he dressed up as a clown. He sexually assaulted, killed, and disposed of the bodies of multiple young men. A lot of them were, I think, from the ages of 14 to 16 for most of his victims. I
Yeah.
think one victim, the youngest, was 8 years old.
Yeah.
But the way that they discuss the story, if you wanted it, typically I would never recommend this for a drama show, but if you wanted an actual historic retelling of what happened, this actually does it pretty well. They stick very close to the facts. There's not things that are really added in too much, except just for some of the dramatic effect. So, like, there's a scene, and this does not spoil the show, but Gein is talking to, I'm sorry, Gacy is talking to the man who is going to become his lawyer,
Mhm.
and the lawyer runs out of the office after Gacy gets drunk and falls asleep and goes to the police officers who are trailing him and says, if he leaves here, shoot out the tires to his car. That happened, but not in the way they made it happen so dramatically. But it's
Yeah.
stuff like that. They stuck to the facts because the man who represented him as lawyer, I can only imagine what that man is going through this to this day. He's a judge now, and he
Yeah.
still refuses to talk about anything about it. So whatever he was told in that office that we don't know about was enough for him to say, "Don't let that man leave here because he's
Yeah.
going to kill somebody again."
So Devil in Disguise, the John Wayne Gacy series on Peacock. I definitely want to tune into that. Thank you. I'm so glad that you brought up Ed Gein because my wife Tony and we completed it. I don't know, a few weeks ago. I think around Halloween time. And in the ranking of monster seasons, easily Dahmer number one, Menendez Brothers number two, and the Ed Gein story dead last. I did not like it. So one, I wasn't a fan of like these shifts to or transitions to scenes of how Ed Gein supposedly influenced these big things of pop culture, like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which you now have said that's not true, and also Psycho. Like I don't know, I didn't like that shift back and forth. It just kind of took me out. I do agree with someone online who said that I would have liked more of a diving into Ed Gein's relationship with his mother because I think that provides a lot of what made him the fucked up person he is. This was the first time where I looked at the season of Monster or Ryan Murphy TV show, and I just felt like, what? I just feel weird watching this. When it gets to a point where I'm looking at just this lingering scene of Ed Gein seducing a dead person, I don't know, just moments like that where I just kind of wondered, like, who is this for? Who does this benefit? Like, what are we doing here? That was a season of television where it really came into full force. Like, okay, like we're really romanticizing serial killers. We're putting them on this pedestal that they don't deserve to be in. And I say that while also probably still going to be watching the Lizzie Borden season coming up, because Ryan Murphy and his team, they know what they're doing. They know how to keep eyeballs on. They know that we just are fascinated by these people, even though they don't deserve any attention. The victims deserve more attention. So it's a complicated thing. But yeah, I'm with you. Ed Gein was just absolutely terrible, wasn't fulfilled by it at all, and highly don't recommend.
Yeah, I if you guys listen to the past episode, I lambasted that thing because I it's bad. It's
Yeah.
so bad. And I think to Ryan Murphy, it is incredibly irresponsible for you to present the facts that you presented of him killing that babysitter when she's still only known to be missing. The family deserves a lot more respect than that. And I feel like that was a clear, just non-caring of anything. Just like, oh, who cares? We're just going to make this as shocking as we can make it. And it's not responsible at all. The Ed Gein monster story, it should be labeled based on a character of Ed Gein. This is not the man. And I hope the Lizzie Borden season is better. I actually like know a lot about her. So I'm probably going to pick that one over with a fine tooth comb too, but just go back to what you did for the Menendez brothers or go back to what you did for Dahmer. At least you were close with the facts for that one.
Now, to my understanding, Ryan Murphy, he actually didn't have a creative day-to-day role in the Ed Gein story. So it was only his name on the sort of production banner of it all. And this was the first time of this scale that he gave the creative day-to-day to somebody else. And that somebody else decided to take creative liberties, and this is what we got. And I don't know, I mean, who knows how they're going to do with Lizzie Borden, because they could go with the critical side of it, which was not a lot of people liked it on the critical side, or they could go on the commercial side of it, which was, it's obviously one of the biggest trending shows. So we'll see how we go into the Lizzie Borden season. Maybe if Ryan Murphy is back involved in the creative day-to-day like he was with Dahmer and Menendez, maybe it'll be a lot better. I don't know. But yeah, Ed Gein was something. That's what we'll say. It was something.
We all experienced it. We experienced it collectively. Funniest thing, John, what you said, I think every person I've ever talked to about it has said they did not like this jumping between time periods of that show. Didn't make sense. And I'm just so happy that people picked up on it. We're like, this does not make sense at all.
But we do recommend Devil in Disguise.
Yes.
That is great. So we're going to definitely watch that on Peacock. All right, we're going to try a new thing before we do our usual ending thing. We're going to take all of the layers of conversation that we've had, and AJ, you are going to try to come up with a creative episode title that defines the scope of this episode. I hate to put you on the spot, but we can try. And if not, we can always edit this out.
I'm going to call this episode A Pharaoh, Fallacy, and a Persuasion.
Ooh, I love that. And I'm going to write that down because obviously I will not remember that. A pharaoh, a fallacy, and a persuasion. Damn. Now,
That's what we're going to call it.
How did you come up with that?
We finally get to see everything in King Tut's tomb. That's our pharaoh. We talked about Donald Trump and the Republican Party. They're an entire fallacy.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Gacy and Gein movies, well, I guess docuseries, those are a persuasion because I hope it sways people to see the truth of these killers.
Yeah. If you're going to talk about serial killers, get it accurate, report the facts. Creative liberties can be risky for people who are diving into it and they don't really know the actual background and information of this. So you were right in that previous episode. It's like, oh, actually, maybe look into Ed Gein first before you watch this show that really takes a lot of dramatic license.
Yeah. All for creating your own world, but don't present it as if it's the facts when you know the glaring truth is out there. Please don't do that. You're trumping it.
Yeah, exactly. Do not trump Ed Gein. Oh, God. All right. Well, this was a wonderful episode. Please, for those of you who listen to the Delicious Culture, wherever you get your podcasts, we're on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon, SiriusXM, etc., wherever you get your podcasts. If you're on Spotify, please leave us a 5-star rating. If you love us, leave a review on Apple Podcasts. All of that helps the algorithm. And email us if you have any questions, concerns, feedback, whatever, the deliciousculture@gmail.com. That is the deliciousculture@gmail.com. We are on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at The Delicious Culture. I mean, if you want to follow, subscribe, comment, like, share, that would be awesome because you love the content. Why not subscribe to us?
It's free for you. It's free. It's a big thing for us. We just need you to click the button.
Yeah. One button. It is wonderful. And we promise when you subscribe, you get wonderful, deep conversation like this that won't make you go crazy. Like we're not this is my excuse to talk about Mr. Beast because I got into like Mr. Beast's content the other day. And I'm like, this is the most overstimulating thing I've ever fucking seen in my life. Win $500,000 if you can escape out of this burning house while eating a fucking Hot Pocket for 10 minutes. Like, it's like, Mr. Beast, like he had a wonderful video that from 10 years ago where he was nothing and he was like manifesting where he got to today. So props to you for manifesting and being a successful content creator. But woo, God, if you are a child, I understand why you like him.
I have never seen a Mr. Beast video.
Oh, you have to.
I have never seen, but I know about Mr. Beast because my nephews love him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, y'all, he must be freaking amazing because they talk about it. They're like, Uncle Andrew, Uncle Andrew. And I'm like, thank you for telling me, nephew. I'm not going to watch it because it just sounds too crazy for me. But they love him. So he's got to be doing something good.
Yeah. So how about we get Mr. Beast numbers for just non-overstimulating conversation like this? Let's advocate for that.
Yes, we are the version of Mr. Beast who wears sweatpants and slides to the gym.
There you go. There you go. And maybe smokes a little weed and just relaxes. Like you don't like he got a lot of flack. So I'm it sounded like I was making the thing up about the burning house, but he actually did that. And understandably, he got a lot of flack for giving somebody a prize to escape a burning house. What are the morals of that? You are endangering somebody's life to give them money, but all of it really you're trying to create the most viral video ever.
And you're forcing them to eat a Hot Pocket. What is wrong with you?
Well, that part isn't true. The only part that's true was that someone had to escape a burning house for a chance to win some grand financial prize.
Yeah. You know what? I don't know if you heard about it. Oh, I swear I'm almost dead.
Oh, you're good. You're good. I'm the one rambling.
People are now doing lives on TikTok and YouTube and Twitch and running people over in their cars. That is where we have gotten to as a society where you need to be on live so bad that you are on live driving and running people over.
Now, are these largely men or women or just everybody? Like,
so I've mostly seen women being the drivers in these videos, but
okay.
I don't doubt it that it's also men because I've seen some men driving on live and they crash.
All this talk about this male loneliness epidemic, I think that like could be expanded broadly to what people will do to get attention on social media. Cause like I get it. Like you get validation, you could get money, like I get it, but also I just want people to gain perspective of what value does this bring to me as a human being.
Yeah, the male loneliness epidemic and all these weird things that are happening right now. I don't even believe there's a male loneliness epidemic. I think it's a learned helplessness epidemic of an entire race of, well, not race, society of people. this learned helplessness that people are walking around with these days. I'm like, what is going on? Nobody knows how to cite sources anymore. No one knows to be proactive to do something. No one thinks, hey, they banned talking on my cell phone in my car. So maybe I shouldn't be on live hosting a panel while driving a vehicle. People just don't get it anymore. It's crazy. John, she had, I think, 16 people on this panel in her car, driving, talking to people, and pressing stuff on the phone as she runs a man over. I'm like, what?
Yeah. This is where we are as a society.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't have healthcare, and we're trying to get attention by running people over with our car on TikTok.
Yes.
I know. But anyway, we want to get attention in a more safe way. So
Yeah.
please, at the Delicious Culture on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. If you want to follow me on TikTok, I'm at Jon.Francois, the number one. And how about you?
You guys, you can follow me on YouTube and TikTok at AJ Vandertunt. Excuse me. I have heartburn today and it is killing me.
No.
It's just not going away. But if you want to follow me, AJ Vandertunt on those platforms. On TikTok, there will be 2 pages that pop up. Follow them both. They are both me.
Love it. All right. Shall we wrap up with some ringing deliciousness?
Excuse me. Let's let the deliciousness of my acid reflux ring.